Now, the brain is a wonderful organ. It never sleeps until the moment you stand up to make a speech. And I'm afraid all I've got is a few notes, and for those that know me, they would have been on the back of a fag packet 2 months ago. So, we've had the service. It's unusual for my side of the family, but I'm sure the Newmans knew what was happening. And it's amazing. Andrew, the vicar, well done, you made it here. And both the people making the readings and the prayers. It was wonderfully touching. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. And the musicians, of course, they did rather well. Especially Ian on the piano, and the band, and the singers. Right, and here we are at Dean's Court. Some of us have had to travel a bit further than the church. Now, Paul's sister and mother have come from Somerset, and Angie's sister has come from Guildford, and my brother's come from Yorkshire, and my sister from almost Somerset, the north end of Dorset, and of course others have come from further afield, even overseas. Oh, there we are. From New Zealand.
VIP.
Yeah.
VIP. Long weekend.
But we mustn't forget David and Megan have come from London.
Yeah. Long way.
Or Middlesex.
Middlesex, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, many thanks for you all being here, and I'd especially like to thank those that are closely involved in this day, which is Karen and Richard. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
Paul and Angie.
Big P and Big A.
Yeah, thank you ever so much for your contributions and everything you've done over the years. And I mean that, Richard. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, the big spenders, I'm afraid, are the theme of the day. David and Megan. You can see a theme coming. Right. So the plans now are for more individual photos round the side, is it?
Be round there.
It will be round there.
Yeah.
Do make up your own groups and take your own photos as well. Because I don't think there's going to be that many of these, no more big photos like this. Another thing is food and drink will come out on trays, will be served around there. That's canapes, I think. That's food, isn't it?
It's on me, lads. It's on me. Bowling!
I'm going to have to crawl back around here. And for those of you who drink more than they transpire, the loos are well beyond the marquee, but it's down that way. It's a shepherd's hut, I think. Male one side, ladies the other. Okay? But that's down that way. And the other thing to warn you of with youngsters is there is a pond there, and it's covered in a green weed, and it looks just like grass. So please, if you've got youngsters,
Or a day. Watch it, mate. Watch it.
We'll all be in there later.
just to keep an eye open, okay?
Rolling.
Now, Paul's mother is here, and she is sat down here
Down there.
by the drinks table. She's
Yeah.
years of experience.
Big G.
And then, just arriving now are Chris and Marion, who are Karen's parents. Megan's grandparents.
The grandma still just hit my rock.
Right, I don't know whether things have just been slightly put back by a few minutes. But the cake cutting will possibly be at 4 or
About.
about 4 o'clock,
4:30-ish.
and that is over by the marquee. So you've got 1.5 hours to walk. Ooh.
It's a long way.
Crawl.
Yeah.
100 yards. Brilliant. So, how did we
Quite not
all
in.
get here? Well, I can remember a few years ago when my daughters, Laura and Megan, were a bit younger. We hired a rowing boat and went on the river down here. And we toddled off downstream to start with, and then turned around. My sister and I would have just both oars, but the girls would share an oar, and trying to get them coordinated was possibly a bit difficult. But then, of course, looking back, perhaps Megan's mind wasn't on the road. She was sussing out the church. Spying the land, it's in the genes. And then, where did they meet? Well, they met at LA. Now that sounds glamorous, but it's at LA, not in LA. But he's a cracking lad. He's got plenty of grade A's. Yeah, he's handsome, hard-working, and ambitious.
Yeah!
I think it's better draw this to a conclusion. And if you'd like to join me in applauding David and Meg. Lovely day. Thank you all for coming. My pleasure.
TK.
Hope it's okay.
You absolutely
Awesome. What a gang we have here together. Is this awesome or what? Yeah! Are you having a good time?
Yeah!
Are you having a good time? Yeah! That's what we want to hear. Fantastic. We're having a good time because of Megan and Dave. You have just absolutely blown us away. This is awesome. You have sorted out all the detail. You've sorted out a fantastic day. What can I say? You even got the weather on your side. You must have had an appointment with the big man upstairs because he sorted this out for you. Fantastic day. Thank you so much, guys. Fantastic. Let's give him a round of applause. Now, I wasn't expecting to have the opportunity to speak today because I have 4 boys. And normally at weddings, the father of the groom doesn't normally have an opportunity to speak. So thank you, Peter, for giving me the opportunity today. I really appreciate it. And I have to say, this is an absolute honour and a privilege to have the chance to share a few words. So to that end, and I don't wish to steal any thunder, of course, from the groom, and of course, the best man. And I know he has 1 or 2 stories to share, just 1 or 2, so I'll keep this brief. Now, for those of you who are parents, or who are married in fact, you will know that one of the things you look out for in a relationship is what do you have in common? Now that's a bit deep, isn't it? It's vital that a newly married couple share the same or at least some similar interests and attributes. So, being in Unum, I did some research.
Really?
Now you may or may not know, Megan spent many years in the first part of her life in Portugal. In fact, when she was a very little baby, she was in Portugal until the age of about 5. And of course, being a young baby in Portugal, she had to visit the medical centres from time to time, and the usual checkups and so on. And all the nurses in Portugal referred to Megan as boneca. I think that's the way I pronounce it. Boneca. Who knows what boneca means? It's a Portuguese word. It means doll or dainty, calm, relaxed, beautiful in every way. Yes, that is definitely Megan. So, David.
It's a bit hot here, right?
David was born in Germany, almost on the backseat of my brand new Volvo. As we arrived at the medical centre, the doctor checked Andy over and said, "Not in my office!" A few minutes later, in absolute record time, David was born, and he announced it to the world with his voice, which still only has 2 settings, off and loud. He's also been in a rush ever since and is only just learning to slow down. Back to Megan. Megan's first form of transport was a little plastic scooter. She named it BB. She loved to ride it down the dusty track to her house in Portugal. It was her pride and joy. Even when she was not riding her scooter, she would carry it around with her, making sure it was treasured and looked after. Is that right, Megan? David's first form of transport was a second-hand bicycle previously owned by Chris. As a result of that, it was not in the best of condition. It took David a while to master cycling, but unfortunately with David's must-have now attitude, this caused him great angst and frustration. The learning process was just not fast enough for David. However, he persevered, and once he did master it, the bike was simply used for getting from A to B faster than walking or running. Maintenance, cleaning, these were the functions he neither understood, cared about, or even had the patience to learn. That's what dads are for. Back to Megan. Megan's grandmother loved knitting, still loves knitting. She made Megan a beautiful pink jumper. It was a magic jumper that only grandmas can make, because somehow it grew perfectly as Megan grew. In fact, Megan wore this jumper for almost 20 years. In fact, I think she even still has it today. Only grandmas can make magic jumpers like that. Now David, however, has a wardrobe twice the size of Megan's. In fact, twice the size of most other people, in fact. Nothing fitted David for long, and even if it did, he would get bored with that particular look and quickly move on to another style.
Carpet.
Back to Megan. Now Megan loved playing with Playmobil. Do you remember Playmobil?
Yeah.
Who remembers Playmobil?
Yay!
Oh right, we're all Playmobil children. Megan loved organising her little figures into neat, structured hierarchies, ensuring each little person had a special role to play in her games, with rewards, promotions, and a lovely sense of order and protection. David liked Playmobil too. But the poor little figures would spend their time being run over by Scalextric cars, drowned in dramatic sea battles in the bath, or being used as sacrifices by Action Man. Even now, when I'm digging the garden, I frequently find the remains of a poor Playmobil character or bits of an Action Man figure that clearly came to a gruesome and dreadful end. So after all this research, I was beginning to get a little bit concerned and thinking, what did Megan and David actually have in common? And then, of course, it came to me. Now, we already know that Megan and David both worked in the same company in LA, or at LA. And one day, they just happened to meet at the photocopying machine. Megan noticed David, and David definitely noticed Megan. But it was Megan who opened the conversation first, and she said, "Do you like Prosecco?" And David said, "As a matter of fact, yes, I do." And David said, "Do you like gin?" And Megan said, "As a matter of fact, I do as well." And if you look around you on the table, there are bottles of gin, and I have it on good account that every single one of these empty bottles of gin have been consumed by David and Megan.
In the last week.
So all joking apart, Megan, David, we all know that you're absolutely perfect for each other. You complement each other absolutely fantastically. You have so much in common. Today is an absolutely fantastic celebration of your wedding today. Tomorrow is the beginning of your marriage together. And you have now set a foundation for a loving lifetime of marriage together. Karen, Peter, Angie and I are just so immensely proud of both of you and the wonderful partnership that you have become. But for now, perhaps a couple of words of wisdom from Big P. David, remember, there are only 2 times in a man's life when he can't fully understand a woman. Before marriage and after marriage. Seriously though, try to learn when Megan's yes means no, and when her no means yes. This will save you from engaging in pointless battles. Megan, now that you know that David may not always fully understand you and how you feel, work together to learn each other's love languages, knowing this will bring long and lasting peace and happiness for both of you. Dave and Megan, as in the reading today in church, forgive each other quickly. Forgiving is hard. Sometimes it's really, really hard, especially when you want to win that battle. But forgiveness begins the process of reconciliation and understanding, as well as a deeper love for one another. It just grows and grows and grows. So just forgive quickly. So, from all of us here today, our prayer for you now, as you both embark on this incredible journey, is that your marriage and love for one another remain strong through thick and thin. And with God's blessing, may all your hopes and dreams be realised. Ladies and gentlemen, with your glasses charged, join me in a toast, please, to the bride and groom. Bride and groom!
ladies, gentlemen, welcome to our wedding! Woo! Come on! So, those who know me relatively well know that this has been a day I've been waiting for a small amount of time. So, I take immense pleasure on behalf of my wife and I to welcome you here. Oh yeah, sorry. I did a little bit of Google research, as my dad has said, we Newnhams like to research. And apparently my speech is an opportunity to speak about those who really mean something to us. So I'm going to cut straight to the chase and start with the bar staff. I'm joking. Am I? No, I'm joking. So just before I start, a little note for those, I have done some speeches before weddings.
Yeah, we remember them, all of them.
Just so you know, this speech has been properly vetted. There'll be no mention of donkeys tonight. So, to start with, the friends. Because let's face it, without all of you lot here, we would not have had the day we've had today. We've been so immensely blessed and honoured that all of you have been here. We are just honestly blown away. We can't speak how much we love every single one of you. And some people have travelled quite some distance. There's those who have travelled from the lofty heights of Wimborne. It is quite far away, about 300 yards. There are those who travel a little bit further from Litchett. A little bit further, yeah, lovely. There are those from London. Those from Yeovil. But those who have travelled the furthest, let's face it, it's got to be New Zealand. 13,500 miles! Laura and Di, thank you so much for being here. We are truly honoured to have you here with us. So we want to just say that every single one of you quite literally has been handpicked to be here. We spent hours going over the table plans. So I do hope you enjoy who you're sat next to, because if you don't, tough.
It's your fault.
It's our fault, I'm sorry. But unfortunately, there are some people that can't be with us today, and I think it's appropriate that I'm going to give a little shout out to those who can't be with us because they've got other engagements that meant they couldn't join us, which is sad, but we love them still. So some people, Tim and Catherine couldn't make it here, Matt and Bianca Shutt, Chris and Hannah Stewart, Jacob Thomas, Joe Thomas, and Becca Everett, to name a few. We love them all, and we're so glad that they're doing what they're doing outside of here, but we're also more glad that you guys are here. So thank you so much. I just want to raise a toast, the first of many, to the friends.
The friends.
So, the next part of my speech, the parents. I think it's fair to say that we wouldn't be here without our parents. Quite literally, scientifically, it would not be possible.
Really?
Really? But
Just checking.
I'm not only blessed to have my amazing parents here, but I've now inherited two amazing in-laws. Let's give it up for the in-laws. Come on! I'm going to start with Karen. Karen is incredibly kind, gentle, and she is the most amazing host. She cooks a dynamite nut roast. Seriously, it's awesome. And I love meat, so. She doesn't like the limelight. She's not loud, she's not brash, so God knows what she thought when I walked in with my white yellow corduroy the first time she saw me. She must have thought, Megan, what are you doing? But nonetheless, she has loved me still, and I'm just so blessed and honoured that you welcome me into your family. So, PK, or Peter Kirby, sorry. PK as we like to call him. As you have witnessed, he is a true gentleman. Not only is he a man of great wit, but he's a man of true honour, and he's a man that just says words that touch all of our hearts. I was blown away with the words that Peter spoke earlier.
Absolutely.
both Megan and I have been truly blessed by not only the support that Peter's given us, but just the generosity he has shown towards us. He really is a true gentleman. I couldn't be more honoured to have him now as my father-in-law. And I just want to raise a toast to both Karen and Peter.
Peter. Cheers.
So now I get to talk about my parents. How exciting. Angie and Paul, or as I prefer to call them, Big A and Big P. Actually, I can't take the credit because Megan gave them those names. No, quite simply, my parents are awesome. They are the best parents ever. They're my best friends. They have taught me so much in my life. I'm truly blessed to have them as my parents. And I just want to share a few stories of what they're all about. So I'm going to start with my dad. Quite simply, my dad's a legend. Okay, yeah, Big P! He's an ex-RAF pilot. Yeah, I know. It gets better. Former captain of Virgin Galactic. No, sorry, Virgin Atlantic! I'm jumping ahead of the game.
I don't remember going to space.
I just went into stratosphere then. Quite literally. Virgin Atlantic. So. But he is now head of training at a ground school, and he's just had the most incredible career. And if you get a chance, you have to hear some of his stories. I've heard them all before and I'm bored now. But no, seriously, you have to hear some of his stories, they're epic. But my dad is my hero, he's my inspiration, and I absolutely love him. There's one story which just sets him apart. So, I was young. I was about 2 or 3, 4 years old, I don't know. I don't really remember it that much well. But I had this bear. And I loved this bloody bear. He was great, he's called Barry. He's little.
Inspirational name.
Yeah, I thought hard about that name, guys, come on. And I took him everywhere with me, and we're wandering in Wimborne, along near the kebab house. We went, big night out. And it's about November time, it's cold, it's not warm. It's Christmas. Mum's telling me it's Christmas. It's cold, basically, it's cold, that's all you need to know. And I'm wandering around and I think...
Freezing.
And I think Barry speaks to me, he says, Dave, I want to see the river. I'm like, all right, mate, let's go see the river. So I hop onto the old little fence with my little bear, I think he wants to see the river. My hand-eye coordination's not that great at about 3 years old, and he just flies out into the river. Which is not ideal because I love that bear. And so the bear falls into the river, I look down at him and scream. I'm like, oh my God, my bear! And Mum's with me consoling me, and I'm just pouring my eyes out, and Dad, absolute legend, was like, right, father mode, I'm gonna save this bear. Yeah. So he legs it. This is the 90s, he's wearing a shell suit with jeans. Proper boss. Yeah. He's legging it, with me and my dad in tow, behind the Rising Sun, if you know that pub. And there's a garden out there, and there's the river, and Barry's gone under the bridge now, and he is floating away. We have mere seconds to save this bear. It is touch and go, guys. I'm telling you, touch and go, right? I'm screwing my head off, and Dad's thinking, I've got to save this bear. So he just thinks, balls out the bag right now, leaps, legs first, into the river, grabs the bear, trudges through, comes out and is like, yes, I saved the bear. What a legend! It gets better. He then hands me the said bear, and I look at it and go, ugh. But the best bit of the news is, I still have the bear! And I sleep with him every single night. Thank you, Dad.
Awesome.
Barry. So, turning to my mum. Well, those who know her, she's a pretty straight-up woman. She cuts through the crap. She doesn't let anything stand in her way. And she is just headstrong. And it's brilliant because
She had to do with you four.
Well, quite. She had to deal with 4 boys, which, let's face it, is not
5.
ideal. Well, 5, including my father. But since then, Mum has gone on. She's learnt and studied to become a solicitor, or a lawyer, shall I say, and she has set up her own law firm, and she runs her own law firm, and actually, there's a few people here that are employed by her, which I think is bloody awesome! But she's just got her tenacity and ability to say, no, this is the way we're going to do it, is brilliant. I've got two stories I want to share. The first one was in my university years, my first year. Luke will know this, Luke Baldwin, because we basically played a whole load of computer games in our first year and didn't do any studying. And I realised about a month ago before my exams that I've got to actually knuckle down. So I started studying quite hardly, thinking I've got to get through my exams. And I get about 2 weeks in, and I think, I'm doing all right. I then come to property. So in law, you do different subjects, and property is one of them. And I opened my property folder, and when the tumbleweed came out, I knew there was a problem. So, in a slight fit of panic and a few tears, I came running down to my mum, because she is a property lawyer, and I said, Mum, I'm screwed. I am screwed. And she sat me down, and she basically taught me a whole year's course in 2 weeks, and I got a 2-1. The second story goes back a few more years, and it kind of describes how Mum not only will go with the flow, but she also learns from her mistakes. So Mum decided that she would take all four of us shopping. We were all young, very, very, very young, very energetic. We went to that little shop called Adams. Do you remember Adams? Yeah, the Apple, yeah, the little kids shop with loads of clothes everywhere. Basically, I don't know much about the story or the scene, but from what I recollect, the scene was we opened the doors and we just went wild. Wild. You couldn't actually see us, you could just see clothes flying everywhere. Carousels spinning, shirts going this way, shorts going that way, it was madness. All four of us were just let off the hook, and Mum was just running around trying to save us. It got to the point where I think me and Chris jump on a little kiddie's table and start rocking the table side to side. Ended up smashing a mirror in Adams. Mum apologises profusely to the shop owners, and we get asked to leave quite quickly. Mum has never taken us shopping again. So it did work. Yes. But she just has that ability to say, you know, I'm going to take this on. Headstrong and awesome. So my parents' life together, there's just a couple of stories, but their life together has taught me so much. They've taught me to fight. They've taught me to love, and they've taught me to be true to who I am. And I can't be happier than right now to say that I love them. And my parents are awesome. To my mum and dad. The best man and the ushers. What an exciting topic. So Chris is my best man, he is my older brother. He is joined by James and Andrew. Just to clarify, for those who were at Chris's wedding, Andrew is our brother and he wasn't bought on eBay. He is in fact blood.
True story.
They are joined by Di, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, who is due to wed Laura next year. Congratulations, guys. So first, Chris. Chris is the creator of the hashtag Quiet Night In. For those in the stag do, you know what that's all about. He's created the shot ski and also the man cave. But there's one story that really epitomises Chris as a leader of men. We were in Paisley skiing one year, and Chris, being my older brother, as he was, decided, I need to teach Dave some real life lessons here. I need to teach him some skills. So he says, Dave, let's go write our names in P. I was like, yes, Chris, let's go do that. So we go out to the back of a parking lot, and Chris just decides to write his name. He starts with the C, gets to the H, it's going really well, does the R, does the bottom of the I, and then suddenly there's a little shout from the car park of someone saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. Now Chris didn't falter. He stopped, mid-flow, turned around, gave them a nod, and cracked straight on. Dotted the I, did the S, bosh, finished. Now, if that isn't good credentials, what is? Come on. Now the whole... I had to get one in there before he has a go, come on. Now the whole theme of bearing all kind of does run in our family. So, turning to James. James famously decided when he was a young age to go into a fishing tackle shop and strip down naked, get into a keep net and say, Dad, look, I'm a fish. Don't worry.
It's true.
Andy doesn't get let off lightly either. Andy, being the youngest brother of us all, was basically a puppet. He would do what we said when we wanted. So my advice is, if you ever come over to one of my mum and dad's home, don't look at the Grease 2000 photo album. Unless you want to see photos of Andrew pole dancing naked or jumping off the back of a boat with just flippers on. Seriously though, I'm immensely proud of all my brothers. Chris has started his own marketing company. It's going incredibly well, and he deserves all the plaudits he gets for what he does. His videos are awesome. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, hey, subscribe now. James is practice manager at my mum's firm and is doing incredibly well at that job. And Andrew works for the government for the DFT as an economist. I think all three of them deserve a round of applause. Last but not least is Di. Apologies, I realise this is quite a long speech, but I've got a lot to fit in. It's Di. Di is a legend. If you've not met him yet, you must. He is the biggest extrovert I think I've ever met in my life, and that's coming from me. He's Welsh, don't let that put you off. But he is genuinely, he's a top bloke, a real top bloke. Me and Megan, we've been dating, about a year before we even met them, wasn't it? And we'd met them on Skype a few times, and they flew over for Christmas. And now, when you fly 13,500 miles, and you're living in a hot country, and you come to a cold one, you think trousers are pretty essential. Di turned up with no trousers. But don't worry, I was on hand, and I lent him my trousers. In fact, actually, I still think they're on lend, aren't they?
Yeah, you're not having that.
All right. So although he's a top bloke, he can be a little disorganised. But seriously, I'm proud and honoured to have you as a brother-in-law.
Knuckles.
Knuckles. So, can we just raise a glass, ladies and gentlemen, to the ushers of the best man?
Yes, the best man.
Two more sections, then we're almost there. So, the bridesmaids and our flower princess. Not flower girl. So, I'm told this part of the speech I'm supposed to comment and acknowledge on how beautiful the bridesmaids look. So, I haven't forgotten, and I'll start straight away. So, in third place... He's balling, mate. He's balling. I'm joking, of course. Come on. The bridesmaids all look absolutely stunning, don't they? So the bridesmaids, if you haven't met them, it's Laura, which is Megan's sister, Rosa, Megan's sister, and Amelia, which is Megan's oldest friend. Is that correct? And they're all... I just checking it was oldest. And they're all absolute gems. They got a heart of gold, and they've just done so much for Megan. I've got to give a little shout out to Laura, because Laura managed to organise Megan's hen do from the other side of the world, and she wasn't even able to make it, and it was still awesome. So we've just got to give a little hand to Laura.
Yeah.
I know Megan thinks the world of all of you, and the reason she's chosen you, and I know this because she talks to me about it, is because you've got her back, and you'll always have her back, and she just knows that you love her, and that is the most important thing at this time. So she's truly, truly grateful you've done this, and you've done so much for her, so we are both truly grateful. So the other person we've got to look to is our flower princess, who's not here, which is fine, but the flower princess is India Clark, who is my goddaughter, and didn't she look awesome today?
Yeah.
We actually took her shopping. It was quite an experience, but basically she saw a dress, and it was a dress that looked like Elsa from Frozen. So we thought, you know what, we'll go with that one, because she absolutely loved it, and she looked gorgeous today, so we're so grateful. Thank you very much. So, to the bridesmaids and the flower princess. So, the final, and let's face it, the most important section, I've labelled this the wife. When it comes to talking about my bride's good points, where do I start? She's intelligent, she's generous, she's gorgeous, she's hardworking, beautiful, let's face it, clearly a good judge of character. What I really, 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 really love about Megan is her honesty. The other day we bought a new armchair, and we were sat in the lounge. Megan sat in the armchair just trying it out. I'm in the sofa, and Megan just pipes up quickly, and she says, "It's nice to be at a distance." Honestly, that's what she said. So, I'm sure you're all eager to know how we met. My dad did tell a slightly fictional story earlier. I'm going to tell you the true version of events. Right here, right now. So, we were both working at LA, which was true. Thank you, Dad.
That's the only true bit.
I was a trainee solicitor working in property. Megan had just joined the firm as a PA in corporate. Now I was young, free and single and loving life. And people knew that I loved to party, which I still do, of course. And basically, it came up to Christmas party time and everyone was like, oh, there's a few spare tickets, Dave. Do you want to come along? I was like, why not? I love to party. So I went along. Megan, I didn't know Megan at this point. We partied till about 11:30 and everyone started going home. I was like, come on guys, it's 11:30, it's Christmas, what's going on? So I rounded them all up. We got down to Bournemouth. I even took the partner with a little walking stick. Got in Bournemouth. We went down to Vodka Revs and we boogied the night away. Now picture this. Vodka Revs, the dance floor opens. I take centre stage.
No way.
It's quite unusual, I know. I wouldn't usually do this. But I took centre stage. I started busting some moves. I mean, it was going off. People were loving it. And then I looked over and I saw this face. She was gobsmacked. She couldn't take her eyes off me. And she looked at me, I could see her eyes were saying, me and you, drink. And I was like, hell yeah. So I sauntered over, did a little shimmy, and she, she didn't flinch. I said, you and me, baby, drink at the bar. She was like, okay, baby. I was like, I know. So I bought her a drink, and the rest is history from there. She couldn't take her hands off me, mate. I'll be honest, the story's slightly different when Megan tells it. But let's face it, mine's a much better version. So, what is really lovely is we're getting married here at Dean's Court. Our first date was at Dean's Court Squash Court Cafe. So this really has some meaning to us. We love it here, it's just so beautiful, and ever since that first date we have never ever looked back, and we're really, really, really happy to be here. So this bit of my speech, I have to admit, is the hardest bit to write. It's the hardest bit to come to because I can't just joke, I can't just mess about, because I'm marrying my dream. And it's so hard with the language that I find that I'm inhibited by to speak the words I really want to speak about Megan. So I'm going to try and just tell you why it is that I love Megan. Megan has a calming presence. Whenever I come home from work and I'm stressed and I'm struggling, Megan just, I don't know how you do it, but I come home, she puts an arm on my shoulder, she gives me berry, we snuggle together. I don't want to be joking, she gives me berry. She says, do you want berry? I'm like, yeah. And she makes me feel so much better. Being a lawyer is hard work, I'll be honest, but Megan makes it awesome. The second thing is, isn't she stunning? Absolutely gorgeous. In my words, she's a worldie. She is top of the mark. She's not only just outwardly gorgeous, she has this natural beauty about her which I can't really explain. It is just, it captivates me, it sends me wild, my heart flutters every time I look at her. And you all saw it today when I looked down the aisle. I couldn't hold back the emotion just because she is the apple of my eye. I absolutely love her, and she's stunning. You look amazing today. You look absolutely gorgeous today. She's also beautifully smart. Megan has a training contract at a really good top property firm in London, and she's only done that through hard work and tenacity, and she's just got an amazing intelligence which, I'm going to be honest, she's going to be a way better lawyer than I'll ever be. She is going to absolutely wipe the floor with me, but that's fine, because I've got a little bit of a head start. But she's also tenacity in her ability to do her job well. She's got this get up and go attitude. She's not an extrovert, but she just loves to try things out. She loves to go on adventures. She loves to take my hand and follow me because I'm a bit mad. And she just says yes, and I love it. And I couldn't ask for more than that. She's also honest. I've told you that she likes to just say it like it is. She's true to who she is. She's never changed around my friends, around my family, around my grandparents, anyone. She's just the same person day in, day out, and I love that person. She's solid, she's my support, and she's my rock. She's my anchor in my life, and I couldn't do it without you. We've bought a house, we've moved to London, and it's been effortless because Megan's been there by my side. But more than anything, she is my best friend. And I have one story which just epitomizes the friendship. It's quite early on when we moved to London. And I went out on a Friday night with work. I think I was drinking in the office. And Megan was at home. And I came home about 9, half 9, and I was a little bit merry. And Megan was like, oh, I'm not eating. I was like, yeah, I know, babe, neither have I. Come on, let's go out. She's like, all right, let's go out. So we just went on a mad one. I don't know what happened, but me and Megan were like, right, let's go. So we jumped on the bus, went to King's Road, had a slap-up dinner, we had cocktails, we had Prosecco, we were like celebrating. Everyone kept asking us, what are you celebrating? We're like, it's just Friday. We just love Friday. Now, we actually named it something, there's young ears here, so it rhymes with duck, but it was Duck It Friday. I'm sure you know what it means. And we named it that because we started doing a few of those, and it was great because we just go out, it's spontaneous, and we have some fun. There's no agenda, and we just do it, and I love it because that's what friendship's about. It's about spending time, stupid time that doesn't matter. You can fritter it away, or you can do something with it, and we do something with it, and I love that because Megan makes all my time awesome. So, I'm coming into land now, So throughout the speech, I've tried to joke, I've tried to make it funny and entertain you, but it's procrastination because I'm just taking away from the main event, which is Megan. Megan is the main event. She's stunning, and she takes my breath away every single time I look at her. It's hard to find the words that are suitable to describe what the relationship is that we have. But basically, today, this moment, this speech, everything we've been planning for the last 2 years boils down to what is basically my life's dream, my one heart's desire, which is to love, honour, and just be with you, Megan. I can't imagine life without you, and life with you is completely unimaginable. It is... It is life's greatest journey, and I'm so excited to start it with you today. So, I'm truly humbled that you want to be my wife. I love you with all my heart. May we all be upstanding. To Megan. To Megan. Seriously, baby. Chris, as I'm sure you'll know, all best man speeches are full of rude references and sexual innuendo. But please be rest assured that he has promised me that if there's anything slightly risque, he will whip it out immediately.
Yes, he will.
Ooh, yeah. Got a few props.
Oh my God! What's going on here?
Thanks, chaps. Great speeches. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess this is the one you've all been waiting for, eh?
Yes!
No pressure, eh?
No.
Let's see that there. Has everyone got a drink?
Yes!
Good, you're going to need it. I'd like to start by thanking Dave for asking me to be his best man, and to Meg for letting him ask me. I'm sure you'll all agree that it's been quite an emotional day. Even the wedding cake is in tears. They get better, honest. I recently read that marriage is a 50-50 partnership, but anyone who believes that is clearly knows nothing about women or fractions. I've actually been a bit nervous about this speech, so I bought a book on how to be a best man, which said that my primary job is to make sure that the groom's face and hair are in order. But I thought, if God couldn't do that for him first time round, what chance have I got? To be honest though, I'm only here for 3 reasons. To have a good time, free beer, and I didn't have to pay to get in. I guess that's not so different from the rest of you. But before I get into the main speech, I do need to make a short disclaimer, as it dawned on me earlier this week that both Dave and Meg are lawyers. Most of their friends are lawyers. Even the vicar is an ex-lawyer. In fact, can I just get a quick show of hands for all the lawyers here? Good job I took out indemnity insurance. So I've prepared a document which you're more than welcome to read in your own time. There's a few important points in there, but yeah, I recommend you read that. But I will summarise the main points. So, all content contained within this speech is purely factual and is no way being exaggerated. Number 2, I take no responsibility for any damages caused to personal property, emotional distress, or physical injuries as a result of this speech. Some of the content contains an adult humour. For those with children here today, I apologise. Right, now we got that out of the way, onto the speech. I first met Dave in the 80s. As we've all known, Dave has never been one to be afraid of the sound of his own voice. In fact, this has been an issue for as long as I can remember. When Dave was around 10, we went on a lads' weekend to Antigua, a perk when your dad works for a well-known airline. Anyway, we were on a catamaran tour of the island. Dave, do you remember Emma?
I do remember. I do indeed.
She was mid-20s, blonde, big boobs. She was the girl all the guys wanted, and she definitely wasn't a virgin. Anyway, we were mooring up to the beach, and Emma was fretting about getting into the water. You know, you can imagine all the macho men surrounding this young girl, you know, trying to coax her in. Anyway, suddenly this little voice shouted, "Oi, Emma!" Everyone turns around. This pasty kid, this scrawny pasty kid sipping his own bongo. "Just get in there, you pussy!" If there was ever a way to break the ice, that was how you do it. I remember that. David's also not one to shy away from casual nudity. In fact, on that same trip, we managed to find a deserted beach and decided to strip off to reenact famous movie scenes. These included Moon Beach, Saving Ryan's Privates, Free Willy, and the Loch Ness Penis. Standard father-son bonding stuff, you know? After around 30 minutes of frolicking in the water, this old lady appeared out of absolutely nowhere. And the irony was, she was completely non-emotional about what she had just witnessed. Instead, she just gave us a couple of seashells to cover up. Despite often being loud, Dave is also straight to the point. A couple of years ago, he was on a surfing trip to Nicaragua, which is surprising enough considering he doesn't even surf. Anyway, it was my 30th birthday whilst he was away, and he sent me a heartwarming WhatsApp message, which read something like this. "Happy birthday, bro. Lots of love. Mum made me say that." These were the key moments that as a brother define a true bond and an unbreakable friendship. Life growing up as brothers was full of pranks, from pushing each other into the pool at any given opportunity, writing our names in the snow with our own wee, seeing how high we could get onto a rope swing and face planting into a tree, and my personal favourite, poo sticks. Now our version of poo sticks is slightly different to what you think it is. It mostly involved emptying the toilet tanks of a moving boat and then pushing our youngest brother Andy into the water. Sorry. Cool. Even though there was rivalry growing up, we would always look out for each other. I remember once rescuing Dave from the fields of Ferndown Leisure Centre as he'd been out late. I don't think I've ever seen Dave that drunk, except for on the stag. Don't worry, bro, I don't remember my first beer either. Cool. So Dave had many jobs growing up, from lifeguarding to paintball marshalling, but somewhere along the lines he decided to pursue the life of an honest, hard-working lawyer. There's a question mark at the end of that. Shortly after graduating, Dave decided to move to London, where he was sharing a flat with a friend. During this time, his love life was pretty much on hold. Well, that's what he kept telling us. We shall know it as the Dark Ages. Dave, if there's one thing that marriage teaches us, it's that all past transgressions are forgiven. So then, now that Dave and Meg have officially tied the knot, I'd like to ask that if anyone was given a key to Dave's flat, if you could please place it in this jar and no more will be said. If you can come up and...
What is this? Come on.
I made a copy.
Thank you, everyone.
Come on. I will never forget that. David.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
I've got a spare as well.
Oh dear.
Oh, wow.
It's warm in here, right? Sorry, mate.
My bad. Gross, wow.
Oh dear.
It's all right.
David's tempted to be here, Dave.
There's a few that couldn't make it today. So, swiftly moving on. I have to say, I was rather relieved when Dave called me up to say he had a girlfriend. I remember it well. He said to me, "Mate, I think I found a bird. She's absolutely banging."
Use those words.
I had my first proper opportunity to get to know Meg during a 2-week adventure to Thailand. Dave and Sam were there too. We travelled all over the country and the various islands. It was a dream holiday, and it was amazing to see Dave so happy. Despite the mosquitoes, the smell of Bangkok, the shits, almost missing a flight, spending 12 hours on a noisy train, and of course, the moped incident. At the end of it all, I wholeheartedly knew that Meg was the one for Dave. So what's it like being in Unum? Well, I guess my wife is best placed to answer that one, but I'll give you a few pointers. So, when speaking to any customer services on the phone, you have to pronounce your surname at least 5 times. It's N for Noddy and M for Mother. No, we're not related to a famous salad dressing. All Unums have our own time zone, NMT, or Unum Mean Time, which is usually an hour behind standard time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. This morning.
Yeah, this morning. Yeah. Being in Unum carries certain traditions such as port rounds, cheese boards,
Yes.
and pouring champagne on one's face.
Yes.
To be fair though, Meg, the way I've seen you down a bottle of Prosecco, I have full confidence in you. Becoming a Unum is no small feat. In fact, successful admission rates are historically low. 99% need not apply. Admittedly though, today is not the first admission in recent times. Earlier in the year on the Stag Do, we initiated Mr. Neil Rose into the family as he took up the mantle as an honorary Unum. I won't go into detail about the initiation ceremony. Speak to me later. In addition to being in Unum, another famous tradition is military story time with Dad. For those who have never heard any of his escapades, I'm sure Dad will like to entertain you at the bar later on. Typically these stories go on for hours and would be accompanied by a round of porter, as well as a toast to the Queen from Mr. Vice. Of which, on that note, I acknowledge that I have yet to propose a toast. Therefore, can I ask Mr. Vice for a toast?
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding. The Queen!
The Queen!
Thank you. How you doing, Dave?
I'm well. Good.
Just getting to the good bit.
No. No more champagne.
So it wouldn't be a best man speech if I didn't mention the Stag Do. For those that don't know, it comprised of 16 guys on a week-long ski stag in the skiing mecca that is Bansko, Bulgaria.
What?
we were known as the Bansko Bitches. We had a cracking time, didn't we, Feroz? Sorry, mate, I won't rib you too much. For 7 days and 7 nights, we skied and après-skied, and not once did the stag falter. He was, without exaggeration, a machine. So, now on a typical family ski holiday, we would have a daily nomination where someone makes a fool of themselves, and I felt it only right to carry on this tradition for the ski stag. Each evening we would nominate an individual and the winner would receive the Dick of the Day trophy and a shot from the shot ski. Various winners included Neil for losing his glove and getting James to walk up the mountain to go find it. For Feroz for pretty much missing his first day on snow ever and then breaking his ribs. James Noonan for stacking it on ice. James Fay for stacking it on snow. And me for just stacking it. But there was one person who didn't receive the coveted award. Therefore, this nomination is for showing us all up on their own stag do. In fact, so much so, we had to arrange a second stag do just to try and ruin him, of which he failed at miserably. Dave, I couldn't bring the shot ski, but I have bought you this trophy. Here we go. We'll have to do a shot. Oh dear. Meg, don't get too excited, it's not modelled on Dave. In fact, Cy Jens provided this. There was one moment for me personally on the stag do when I had absolute clarity about what it meant to be a brother, a friend, and a father. It was in one of our favourite live rock establishments. Dave was dancing on top of the bar in an 80s all-in-one ski suit. The bar staff were lighting flamethrowers and napkins were flying everywhere. Oh, it was mental. I'm not entirely sure how it happened, but all of a sudden Dave's ski suit was down by his ankles, and without hesitation, one of the bar staff inserted a flaming firework into his arse. Like a true hero, Dave embraced this opportunity and continued to show off his new anal adornment. But then, the firework fell out and landed onto the floor, of which was absolutely littered with napkins. Surely a fire hazard. So we all stepped back, thinking that the bar was about to ignite into flames, and this mini inferno started taking place. But if that wasn't surreal enough, it was then that I realised that from the corner of my eye, this arm reached out, picked up the firework from this inferno, and placed it back into Dave's bottom. It was only then that I realised that arm belonged to my dad.
Oh dear.
I guess the moral of the story here is even when you're in the shit, you can always rely on family to help you find the light. So I'd like to make a second toast to family, or as we like to call it the Newnhams, Ma Familia.
Ma familia!
Ma Familia! Fast and Furious reference. Okay, so we're on the home straight now. Today, my brother becomes a man. Meg, you make Dave more happy in more ways than I ever could. You look absolutely stunning, and I'm proud to call you my sister-in-law. And I'm looking forward to many more adventures with you. Dave can join too as well. Now, if there's one piece of advice I should provide, it's the same which was passed to me at my own wedding. So Dave and Meg, if you can hold hands. Your hand on top, yeah.
My hand, what? What on?
Your hand on top. So Dave, you should remember this moment, for it's the last time you'll ever have the upper hand. Cheers, Dennis. Nick. Congratulations on the beginning of the rest of your lives, and much champagne on one's face.
Yes.
David and Megan, I love you both. Mum made me say that. A toast to Dave and Meg.
Dave and Megan!
Oh, sorry, Bob.
Thank you.
All right.
What happens next?
I don't know. Drinks. Yeah, sorry, me again. No.
I actually forgot something to say in my speech. It's fine. It's fine. I'm recovering. I do have a few little gifts just for my mum and for Karen. If we could bring over some flowers, please, for both of them, because they are both beautiful and I love them both very much. These are for me and Megan. So I think that concludes the speeches, and I think now we are having dessert, and then we're gonna boogie the night away.
Oh yes.
There's still plenty of alcohol, so don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Thank you all for coming, we love you all, let's party!